So when we see people worth a lot of money, high net worth individuals that are worth millions and millions of pounds or dollars, most of the time that ties back to a business that they own. Whether that's a privately owned company or a one that actually trades publicly on the stock market, a lot of their time their value is determined by the value of their business because they of course own it or own shares. And when we actually see someone sell their business and have a big liquidity day, more often than not, if the business is valuable, they will have earned more money selling that business than they might have done the entire time they've spent building, growing, and running that business. For example, Ben Francis, founder and owner of Gymshark. Now that business was actually valued this time last year, I think, at over £1 billion or dollars. That means that on paper, that bloke is a billionaire, but he doesn't obviously have £1 billion sat in his bank account or his back pocket. I still wouldn't mind being a few quid behind him, but that means he probably wouldn't see that money until the day he actually sold that business, if he ever did. And sticking with Gymshark as an example, there are so many things that make that brand and business super valuable. And in this video, we're going to be breaking that down. And as someone myself who this year is looking to acquire a business, I've met with multiple businesses, business owners who are making crucial mistakes when it comes to the value of their business. There are a few things that I want within a business, and yet most of these business owners are completely ignoring these crucial things. Let's find out what these mistakes are in this video. So one of the first things that makes a business valuable is the fact that it's actually established. Now, once you hit the 10-year mark, you can kind of start to class a business as being fairly established. If you're the business owner, people, friends, family, everybody that you've served tend to know you as the guy or girl that runs that business. And if you're a bricks and mortar business, people will have walked past you enough times in the street to kind of think that you've just sort of always been there. Tenure tends to be the golden number for the point in which you start to maybe feel established, or the opinions of other people is that you are established. We as a business have actually been going, if you include myself as a freelancer back in the day, over 10 years now. As a proper business, 6 or 7. And we're just now starting to feel like people maybe kind of like recognize who we are in terms of a business and have started to maybe think that we're on the road to establishment. Don't think that you're going to build a business within 12 months and be taking over the world. Not only that, but in 10 years, you may have started to see repeat customers, people coming back to you time and time again, and that is enough time to build up good reputation, recommendations, referrals, and a good, solid customer base. When selling a business, this is actually known as goodwill, and it's difficult to put a real value on that. So an established business that's been around for a while tends to kind of show in great example that goodwill. But when I was talking to business owners and, for example, an MOT station that we're looking at buying, they have tremendous customer value or lifetime customer value. Because let's be honest, once you've gone to a garage, if you've had a good service, you don't feel like you've been ripped off, you're not going to go anywhere else for the foreseeable time that you live nearby that garage. Other KPIs, key performance indicators in these businesses, such as customer acquisition costs, are going to be fairly low, and your average transactional spend for a customer is going to be fairly high as well. These are really good key metrics that all display and exemplify goodwill within your business. With that in mind, a lot of these business owners weren't really able to give me those numbers, and instead they're relying on anecdotal reports of just stories from day-to-day running of the business. The second thing that can increase value in a business is assets and inventory. Let's look at assets first. These are normally the tools, the equipment, the things that the business needs in order to operate. Sticking with an MOT station as an example, these will probably have somewhere between £100,000 to £200,000 worth of assets. This is something that can actually be leveraged out when you're buying a business. If they've got, say, £200,000 worth of assets, you could leverage that money and take that money out so that you can put it kind of back into the business to either purchase it initially, of course, or actually help grow the business. That can be extremely valuable. Let's just delve into that in a little bit more detail as well, because actually the assets will have value, of course, in themselves. They depreciate over the years, of course, wear and tear and all that kind of thing. But one of the businesses and MOT stations we've been looking at that we actually favour the most, all of their equipment is more or less brand new. There were some other businesses that we looked at where their equipment would have to be replaced from the minute that we went into the business and took things over. So that is a real key, crucial kind of thing. You know, you're sat there looking at the business in terms of the value that it has and what's actually within the four walls, but also the upfront costs or the initial costs as soon as you take the business over for anything that you might have to replace. Something else that a lot of people need to think about. The second thing is inventory or stock. So some businesses might sit on millions and millions of pounds worth of stock that they hope or they expect to sell. A lot of businesses can be measured on a cash conversion cycle. So if you have £1 million and then you put that into stock, you no longer have £1 million in cash, you have £1 million in stock. How quickly will that £1 million in stock become back to £1 million in cash, or £2 or £3 million in cash once you've sold it at a profit? Now, some businesses might turn this round every month, every 3 months, every 9 or 12 months, and that in itself can kind of be a value indicator when you're looking at a business. They might be sat on £10 million of stock, but it might take 5 years to actually shift that. Whereas a business like Costco turn their stock every 28 days, as far as I remember. So they spend billions, because they're a huge company, on stock, but they know by the end of the month that that has gone. Holding your own stock shows to me that you're actually serious as a business. There was a big rise in the past few years of dropshipping companies, loads of people setting these up, doing huge numbers in revenue and doing really good gross profits and even net profits, but there is no value in the business. They're not holding stock of their own, they don't have a warehouse, they barely own their own customers, no contact directly with suppliers, couriers as well. The whole thing can be a real big mess, and you're relying on so many other moving parts that you have no control over, that if I was to go buy that business, that just screams a nightmare to me. It becomes so easy to annoy your customers, do wrong by your customers, and ultimately mean that they're not going to come back to you. So your customer acquisition costs can often be quite high. There's a lot of competition depending on the area that you're operating your dropshipping business. But if something goes wrong, it's going to cost you twice as much to get that customer to come back and buy something again from you. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some massive dropshipping companies, and Wayfair is actually a really good example. But as far as I understand, they don't own any of their stock and they barely have any control over their suppliers and their couriers. This is a huge business, but for me, not that I can afford to buy it in the first place, but a one that I would stay clear of nonetheless. Number 3, in terms of adding value to your business, and this is where a lot of people mess up, is actually really basic: systems and processes. A business is only as good as the systems that it is built on, in the same way that a house is only as good as the foundations that it's built on. There are some businesses that can be turning really good numbers in revenue, millions and millions in revenue, but can have not a single system or process in place. Businesses that I know are doing really well, and yet the business owner runs everything from a WhatsApp group. Like, that for me is a business that just screams red flag after red flag, and can be doing really good numbers, but can also fall down so quickly. And trust me, we've worked with a lot of these businesses that we're actually creating promo videos for, content marketing for, helping grow their business even further. And there's times where you look at it thinking some businesses can't actually operate efficiently on the customers, the products that they're selling right now, let alone if they actually grew their business even 5-10%. That could be the breaking point where that business just fails altogether. You have to be really careful and make sure that everything you're building within your business has a system or a process attached, or at the very least is done for a reason. Again, going back to the businesses that I've already viewed and the ones that I've found to be most valuable or most enticing in terms of purchasing are actually the ones that, of course, have the best systems and processes. Some of the garages, literally everything being done by just scribbling things down on a bit of paper, shouting things across the MOT station, or at worst, running on a WhatsApp group. And yet, the ones that have the most value, everything is done through their computer system. Every single invoice that they've ever raised, every single part they've ordered, all of their suppliers, manufacturers, everything all within this one system, and as well their CRM system. A lot of value, they pay a subscription for the particular one they use, a lot of value is held within that because it all sits on one computer. The fourth thing that can add a lot of value to a business is actually the building that they operate out of. Now, a lot of businesses will have to initially rent somewhere, but if you can, what you want to do is buy the freehold, buy the building that you actually operate out of. Banks will trust this a lot more. They will get this deal over the line a lot more because you, as the business owner, operate out of the place. You're not going to let it go to wreck and ruin. Otherwise, your business would be in wreck and ruin as well. And it just holds a lot more value as well. Not only can you leverage that money out if you wanted to put that kind of, invest back into the business, you can leverage that against the actual purchase if you wanted to. Banks will easily get all of that over the line or with a lot more confidence. And also as well, you're not at the mercy of landlords putting the rent up. You can jack your rent up 10, 20, 50, 100%. They can do whatever they want within reason, and you're going to have to basically suck that up into your costs. You're going to have to put your costs up for customers, which are not going to be happy. You're going to lose profit potentially, and it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare. If you own the freehold, you have a lot more control. Not only that, but of course that freehold sits within the sale of your business. So say your business is worth £1 million and your freehold is worth 2 million. Well, now you're selling a business for 3 instead of saying, here's my business at 1 million, but you've also got a hefty rent bill when you take this place over. Number 5, and this is possibly the most important thing when it comes to any business, and it's actually having a good management team in place. Just like the systems and processes, your business can only be built as good as the people who actually run it. So having good staff, good team members, and a good management team is going to make a real difference into your business. Again, following the examples that I've been given of MOT stations that we've been looking at, the worst ones were the ones that were owner managed, owner ran, just one guy and his garage, his unit. And then the better ones were the ones that actually had team members, they had staff, they had mechanics, the MOT testers, maybe as a receptionist, and they were a little bit more enticing to look at, because you know that us as an agency, by the way, who was looking to buy these as an example, we're not going to want to buy what is essentially a profitable job. Me working on the cars to begin with is going to be stupid at best and dangerous at worst. The closest that I know to car mechanics is watching Top Gear. So that's, you know, that's my level. But what we want to do is replace those people as soon as we can with the talent and the skills that is needed. And the same goes for management as well. When we're looking at much, much bigger scale companies, venture capitalists, you know, kind of investment companies, this is the main thing that they look at. And even banks as well. When they're looking at getting things over the line, the banks are looking at who is actually running this business, who works within this business, what skills do they actually have to continue the operation and grow it as well. Now, on the level of businesses that we're looking at, the director tends to be the manager. So immediately we know our challenge is that we have to replace that person immediately. So they will probably stay on for a 6 months to 12-month handover. And in that time, we have to work super hard to replace them with a business manager, with a service station manager. The 6th and final thing that holds ultimate value in your business is, of course, the end of year profits, your actual net profits, or before that, your EBITDA, if you know what that is. Some businesses will think really, really small. They actually actively avoid trying to show a profit at the end of the year. A lot of them will actually claim incorrect expenses. They will do anything that they can, or they will just buy stupid things within their business to get that net profit down. Ultimately, trying this stupid little short-term tax dodging saving is really not going to help you in the long term. You want to show good solid profits at the end of each year, because someone like me or a business looking to acquire another business wants to see, first of all, that there is actual profitability there, that this business, this space, this industry is worth pursuing, but they also want to see that there is opportunity for growth. If someone's running a business at zero and they've done so for 20 years, as much as you can look at the books and the opportunities, you're going to be looking at that thinking, I don't really want to get involved in that. You're not going to have a valuable business to sell. Ultimately, of course, the more profit that you can show, the more valuable your business. The general rule of thumb is that you do 3 times your profit. So if a business is doing 100K profit, you're going to times that by 3, and that's roughly going to give you the value of the business there. However, there are so many different factors, everything that we've talked about in this video, that would actually help determine what that multiple might actually be. If it's just a one-man band, you might give them the first year's return or the first year's profit equivalent to buy the business. If they have a good management team, then you're probably going to give them 2-3 times multiple. If they've got a really good asset list or an inventory list and they've got 20 years of real goodwill and solid customer base, then you might pay them another multiple in order to acquire that business. These are the things that really do start to stack up over time and really can multiply the sale value of your business. So within this video, I've referenced a lot that we as an agency are looking at purchasing an MOT station or garage. There's a couple of reasons for that. And one is that we don't just want to pin ourselves all on client work all of the time. We want a business of our own that we can own, operate, and ultimately grow over time, so that our marketing efforts and videos and content creation and everything that we do for clients, we can see directly impacting a business. This helps us. It also helps our clients because we can see exactly what is working in real time. And with that, our plan as a marketing agency is that we want to get a business that we can actually grow, that we can maybe multiply by 2, 3, 4 over the years. And that is the final thing in terms of value. is opportunity for growth. I myself, as a marketing agency owner and having previously worked in the motor trade, can really see a huge gap. Now, there's a lot of change with EVs and all this kind of thing. That is, you know, a lot of debates around that. But in terms of marketing a local garage, that for me is an opportunity that is so untapped, and a space I think that still realistically has probably a bad or negative reputation. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity to do some really good marketing, grow that business, and ultimately make a real big difference. So with that comes the end of the video, and I really hope it's been helpful in evaluating the value of your own business and kind of looking at where maybe the gaps are in your business and what you can do to improve and increase the value. And it might have helped if you're looking at buying a business as well, because these are definitely the things that you want to kind of tick off your list as you go. And I've mentioned loads and loads in this video that we are going to be buying an MOT station or garage, and that is my big goal for the end of 2025, or at least to get a deal in place. So we're going to be documenting that whole journey on this channel, so make sure to subscribe for plenty more videos around that. And actually, when we do eventually take over a business, we're going to document how we turn that around. Not that it's going to be in a bad place, but how we actually grow that business and explode it through content marketing. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Subscribe for plenty more, and I'll see you soon.